This is episode 429 of the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. 4 social-emotional learning strategies to use now. Today's guest, Robin Fox, has been working with social-emotional learning for over 40 years. We know that to teach students, we must relate to educate. And one of the first things we must relate to is their emotions in that moment. In today's show, Robin Fox shares 4 techniques you can use in your face-to-face or distance classroom to connect with your students' social and emotional lives. She reminds us that student emotions are constantly in motion, but we have to help them so we can unlock their ability to live better lives, listen, and to learn. Let's tune in to our students' social-emotional learning and help them succeed.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, hosted by author, educator, speaker, and mom, the Cool Cat teacher, Vicki Davis.
Hey everybody, Advancement Courses Tournament of Teachers Challenge is back. It's featuring everything we miss most and least about pre-pandemic teaching life. So stay tuned. At the end of the show, you can learn how to enter to win up to $1,000 in prizes. Today we're talking with Robin Fox, and we're talking about 4 dynamic ways to rejuvenate your students online with SEL. Now, Robin, when we say online, we can use this in the face-to-face classroom too?
Yes, all these can be used right in the classroom.
We all know how important social-emotional learning is, but could you just reiterate the unique importance of SEL at this moment in history?
SEL is how we connect with each other. It is how we feel about ourselves in this world and with our peers and with all the people in our life. And SEL helps us to become emotionally aware and self-confident and really learn how to make good decisions so that we have the best life that we can.
And the statistics are alarming right now in terms of the emotional upheaval in the lives of both students and teachers, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And the one thing that I really recommend we do is check in about those emotions. You know, emotions are in motion. The word motion is right in the word emotion. And they change like the weather. So I like to use a weather motif to find out how my students are feeling. And I ask them, if emotions were like the weather, what would your weather be today? And it gives them a nice way to think about how emotions change. And yet we're like the sky. We are constant, but our emotions come and go. And so you can have them write in the chat that they're maybe partly cloudy or they're sunny or they're stormy. And then if you want to follow up on that, either privately with them or let them express a little bit more, it connects everyone to hear about how we're doing. And that's always a good thing.
Love that. Now, is that your first way? Because we're talking about 4 ways, so maybe we're going to have 5, huh?
No, that is my first way.
Oh, good. Okay. Now, some teachers do that with emojis. Is it okay? Do you prefer the weather versus emojis?
Just different ways to check in, to keep it alive and vibrant. You can have them check in with taking their emotional temperature. And this is a really fun way to do this online as well. Basically, it's using your hand to show how you feel. So one finger, index finger, is doing great. Peace sign is I'm calm and peaceful. 3 fingers is not sure how I feel right now. And you know what? That's a valid comment to make about yourself. Adding the pinky is I'm uncomfortable with how I feel. And all 5 fingers, it looks like, your hands up and stop. And that means I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling. My hands reached out. All 5 fingers, I need help.
Do you think that students feel uncomfortable showing the hand signs and letting their peers see how they feel, or is that not a problem?
It can be a problem, which is why you sometimes want to have them message you privately with that information. And that's always a way to do that as well. I find that, when we are doing social emotional learning on a regular basis, kids get used to the varied emotions that come up with their classmates. It helps us all. We need to be honest about how we're feeling. We really need to be supports for each other and help each other get comfortable talking about emotions.
I love that. I do thumbs up, or then the hand is flat if like I'm just, I'm in so. And if they're like not sure, they kind of wiggle their hand, and then thumbs down is like, I'm really not doing well. So just having that consistent hand sign and communication is just great. Okay, so what's our third?
Our third is something called Rose, Thorn, Bud. And this is a way to check in with kids and adults. All this stuff works with adults too. I do parent groups and it works just as well. And it is a way to check in and have them know that there are things in their life that are tough. There are things that are coming in the future, and there are things that are really wonderful right now. So the rose is write something or tell us something wonderful that's happening in your life. The thorn is something that's bothering you. And the bud is something you're looking forward to. Our lives are filled with all of these, occurrences, and we have so many things going on. So it's another way to become aware that these things are happening, emotions are in motion, and I am affected by the things that are going on in my life that bother me, but I also have things to look forward to. And then there's this lovely thing that's happening right now in my life.
What if a child says, there's nothing I'm looking forward to right now?
Well, isn't that good to know? And doesn't that child need some support?
Yeah. That's absolutely correct. And, I think it's important for us teachers to know some teachers are afraid to ask because they don't have the quote answers. But isn't it really about asking, understanding, and then as appropriate, partnering with people who can help the kids?
It is. It really is. And don't we want to know? Because we don't want to have that kid end up being a statistic.
Well, yeah, kids aren't numbers. They're precious and they're beautiful, and we need to value each individual. I mean, that's just all we can do. So what's our fourth?
The fourth is a way to connect kids, because they might be in the same classroom for a year and not know that much about each other. You can play this online. I call it Show Your Face If, and they can either put a little colored sticky on their camera, or they can turn their video off. If they're in the classroom, they can sit at their desk and then stand if this is true for them. So one person says something about themselves, something that is true for them. Show your face if you like to skateboard. So all the kids who like to skateboard now are appearing on the screen. Another child has a turn and they say, show your face if you like to watch cartoons. And all the students who like to watch cartoons show their face. This is a way that we find out about the other people in our class. And we can also see, well, maybe that's a potential friend for me. They like that too. If you don't know that, you now can learn it. And it's a way of beginning to see, especially if we're helping kids learn about friendships. And believe me, that can happen through high school, still learning about friendships. What makes a good friend? What's a safe bet for a friend? And how do I end a friendship? Or how do I decide this person is not a safe bet and I won't start that friendship? But one of the things that connects us is the things we love. So show your face if you love this, and then we can find out who else in our classroom has similar interests.
So Robin, you're an expert in SEL. For 40 years, you've been working with SEL. Is it different right now than it's ever been before? Or how would you characterize SEL today than SEL, 10 years ago?
That's a great question. SEL a few years ago seemed to be kind of a cherry on the top, a frosting on the cake. SEL now is the cake. We really need to support each other and help each other learn about ways to regulate our emotions and to be kind to ourselves, to learn to get through the tough times by developing a relationship of kindness with our own thoughts, with our own goals and dreams. And when we're hurting, we gotta learn how to deal with that and not run away from it, not cover it up. It's a way to wholeness, accepting all of ourselves. The feelings that are really uncomfortable are as important to accept as the feelings that make us happy. And that is, to me, the most important, crucial part of SEL, is learning to manage our emotions and to be kind to ourselves. Because when we're kind to ourselves, we really learn that incredible, essential skill. That is the way we treat other people as well.
Absolutely. So as we finish up, Robin, and you have teachers who are either back in the classroom or looking to go back in the classroom, you've got kids and teachers who have experienced and are experiencing trauma at this moment. And then we're looking at learning gaps. It almost feels like the perfect storm. Please speak to all of us teachers to help us get recentered on what we need to be doing from an SEL perspective before we push too hard on the content.
SEL helps our students learn. When we are doing SEL exercises, we're teaching kids about their emotions, and we are finding out how they feel and helping them deal with those feelings, we are creating a fertile ground for academics. Behavior problems go down. Kids feel more connected. They feel like they belong. You know how you feel when your mind's racing and thinking of other things. You're not really listening. And listening is a skill that is essential to learning. It is probably the most basic, essential thing that we have to do in order to learn. And I really feel like listening is love. And because we listen to our students and how they are, and we connect them to the other students in the classroom and to their own hearts, to their own true north, the part of them that is that internal guidance that will help them make good decisions and think things through. Once they do that, they'll really be present for the educational aspects that are academic. It is really a matter of soothing the heart and then letting the mind be open to learning.
Thank you, Robin, for helping us to focus on social emotional learning and for giving us these tips and these methods that we can use to gauge the temperature of where everybody is in our classroom. Thanks, Robin.
You are so welcome. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Advancement Courses Tournament of Teachers Bracket Challenge is back again for the 4th year in a row. This year's Remember When edition features 32 scenarios that educators both miss and don't miss about classroom life before 2020. Things like taking students on field trips versus hosting class parties, or fire drills derailing your lesson versus a broken air conditioner. Sign up to submit your brackets from now until March 21st. Then come back from March 22nd to 31st to vote for the ones you want to see advance. Enter now and you'll have a chance to win prizes like a $1,000 Amazon gift card and more. This is going to be fun, so join in. Register now at coolcatteacher.com/tournament and let the tournament begin.
If you enjoyed today's 10-Minute Teacher podcast, why not subscribe on iTunes? You can also catch up with Vicki on Twitter at CoolCatTeacher or level up and learn with her blogs and free resources at coolcatteacher.com. Thanks for listening.